What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh, you know me, Chris. As always, I'm doing great. It's a Wednesday night, and we're here.
You know what's up? Keep that energy, young man, because we're the only ones that can move that soul train, right? Stay grounded.
Absolutely.
And don't derail, my man, because, you know, we got a jam-packed show for everybody that's tuning in live. We always like to start off the show with a bang and show you guys viral content circulating all across the globe. So in this clip, watch as a wife captures her husband using the best brain cells of video games, leaving her to ponder the age-old question: why do men channel their inner genius into virtual realms instead of, say, remembering you have a dinner date at 5 o'clock with the wife's parents while currently teeing off on hole 16 on the golf course? I don't know. I haven't been there yet. Happy wife, good life. I totally understand. But this is so freaking funny. And this is like one of those dream couples that you wish to be in, you know, in your love life. If you're in it now, kudos to you. Me, I'm still a wee lad, still searching for love, baby.
What are you doing?
Hold on.
Drew, what are you doing?
Golden racket, Mario Tennis, baby. It's impossible with regular fingers. Fastest hands in the West.
Hey, work smarter, not harder.
Right? I thought that was freaking hilarious. I mean, who knew that you don't actually need attachments to your video game controllers anymore? Like, some of that kind of stuff just applies just naturally. Who would have thought? But hey, we got comments around that viral clip, and the first one says, "The fastest hands on the West." Or he said in the West, but we get the point. 45,000 people thought that was freaking hilarious. The next comment we got here is, "Tell me your man will never cheat on you without telling me your man will never cheat on you."
Hey, you know what? Win-win, right?
You know, that's true, because if you got a badass, you know, console or gaming room, future wife out there, you know exactly where I'll be at. Next comment here is, "Why do you sound like Woody from Toy Story when he laughed?" That's just what happens. The kid comes out of us, right? You know, we get too excited, and then we kind of, you know, I have such a low baritone voice. Sometimes, you know, I squeak a little bit.
Yeah, it just happens. It comes out naturally, you know?
in the moment. So I'm sure a lot of gamers that are still struggling on your Nintendo Switch, steal the man's tactic. He's
take some notes.
He's on to something. So Stephen A. Smith is back again at it with his show on YouTube, answering fan questions, where one viewer asked, "Is Ash Ketchum overrated?" I like this debate. And for someone like Stephen A. Smith, who clearly calls Pokemon previously, this is such an awesome, genuine response. So let's hear from the sports icon legend himself.
At Shawnee writes, "Stephen A. is Ash Ketchum the most overrated Pokemon trainer? 25 years with one championship." With 25 years with one championship, I'd say hell yes. That's worse than the Atlanta Braves. Okay? That's even worse than the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Dallas Cowboys haven't been to a title in 29 years, but they do have 5 championships on their docket. So I got to give love where love is due. You understand? Even though it was back in the days of Roger Staubach and then ultimately Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, that kind of thing, with Deion Sanders contributing to one as well. When you go 25 years, you just got one championship to show for it with the same squad. Yeah, that's a little bit much. You should have at least 2 to 3.
You know what? Ash Ketchum, he cheats sometimes, which is the funny part, because I've seen clips from the show where he's pulling out tricks from his Pokemon. It's like, that wouldn't fly normally in, like, the games, for example. What's going on here?
I guess more aligned on the TV show, but if you were like, you know, meet him up, you know, in the Game Boy Advance and stuff like that, oh my gosh, he does kind of come across as quite elite. And he didn't necessarily have legendary Pokemon within his own arsenal himself. So it it is pretty, as the childhood in me is like, you know what, we humble the experience. We understand that struggle because we've all been there before playing these beautiful games. But the first comment we got here is, tell me another Pokemon trainer who's got 25 years worth of experience at the age of 11. Yeah, that never
That's
quite
true.
added up. We understand that the show's been going on for 25 years.
Yeah, he
But,
never ages.
He just never ages. So, what is he, like Benjamin Buttons? Have we been looking at this whole thing all wrong?
He's de-aging.
De-aging. Ash's one chip is like Dirk's chip, just weighs more, man. Dirk Nowitzki, he's an OG legend. I mean, Dallas Mavericks will forever cherish him for, that championship. But hey, they're making their run. Didn't quite get the sweep done, but Luka and Kyrie, we'll see what happens. The last comment here is Ash Ketchum never had a super team, though. He won without legendary, so it carries more weight. Okay,
Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Yeah, his Pokemon teams are always consisted of like Pikachu and some other random like Pokemon he's met on his journey in that league.
But maybe that was
Never been
designed.
like, I need a legendary on my team.
But maybe that was designed by show. You know what I'm saying? To get you,
probably. It would be a
playing.
little goofy if he was running around with a legendary Pokemon just randomly.
It would just be too easy. And while us as the youth, when we were playing the video games and watching the TV series, it was encouraging you to use the Pokemon that you were most likely never gonna put in your starting six. So I think that was kind of a strategic move on their end. But hey, let us know, gamers. But who would have thought, amidst the cotton candy and carnival rides, you could also find serious gamers at this year's LA County Fair? The next stop, competitive pie eating while speed running through Pac-Man? I don't know, but who would have thought that this is a thing? And if you haven't seen the viral clip, let's go ahead and take a look.
I'm at the LA County Fair right now. Big ass fucking creeper. I'm about to enter this room. They said it's the gaming lounge. I'll be the judge of that because I'm a gamer. I thought this was gonna be a lot bigger. Bro, there's like dead ass competitive gaming. This motherfucker's doing Google Captcha. Bro's proving he's not a bot. You're a bot, kid. You're trash. Bro's over here build fighting this shit. What is going on? He's checking the competitive rank. They really doing this shit for real. I'm gonna sign up, bro. It's $25 the game all day. People pay for gas to get here. Then you pay for a ticket to get inside the fair just to pay $25 to play Fortnite instead of just playing it at home. Interesting. Interesting concept, man. Hey, put me on the game. I'm trying to play. I want this shit so bad, bro. Holy fucking shit, a ray gun. Yo, it's a fucking land.
Hey, they said, we heard you guys. We got to go touch grass. But we're going to go touch grass at the LA County Fair.
Actually, to be fair, though, HenricK, there's like no grass anywhere to be found. You're touching pavement, so I don't know if that's a fair assessment. But hey, like that guy was shouting out, I thought that ray gun was pretty badass too. I mean, I think that was more along the lines of like going, hey, what's this like esports thing? And then you drag your mom and your dad that has no idea and doesn't give a shit. And then all of a sudden you're like, what? This is a pretty badass merchandise. I think that was the real intent behind that entire tent. That's probably where they make their most money after all. But hey, people definitely had comments for this. I entered CSGO tournament for $20 and won $20. So, some people...
he broke even on that one. So that's a win right there.
Why
you
is
get
it
to play for free.
I guess it's no different though, compared to like people back in the day who used to go to those computer houses and play video games. But I guess you're supposed to enjoy yourself at the fair and eat a funnel cake and stuff yourself with like powdery, sugary goods. Come on, man. The type of dude no one wants to be around, laughing my ass off, always yapping and complaining. Stay home, bro. But yet you're the one that's yapping and commenting on his own video. So what does that make you?
You fall in the same category, hater.
I know, for real. $20 a ray gun? What's the seller's at? You know what? I've been trying to figure that out. So
$20?
Hey, if you're watching Rage Quit right now and you're the vendor at the LA County Fair, dude, I need to know your ads. I kind of want that in my room as well. I mean, who doesn't love
sick.
Endless rounds of Call of Duty Zombie? But guys, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show after all, and we got an amazing lineup of topics here to discuss throughout the show. And it's time, HenricK the Wreck. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Oh yeah, Chris. And you know what? It's time to talk about a game, all right?
Let's get it, baby! Woo!
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is XDefiant. Hey, wait a minute, this is a free-to-play game. XDefiant is Ubisoft's stab at an arcade shooter like Call of Duty. Their claim, however, is that unlike Call of Duty, there is no skill-based matchmaking. But will it make an impact or even stay around? That's the question everyone is wondering. And with that in mind, let's go over the gameplay to see what the game is all about. The gameplay of XDefiant is actually quite a bit similar to the older Call of Duty games. You'll have loadouts to choose from, and you can craft your own. The loadouts consist of a primary, secondary, and a device like a grenade or proximity mine. There are no perks like in Call of Duty, nor kill streaks, but in place of them, XDefiant has you choose a faction when you load into the game. The factions are from other Ubisoft titles and are as follows: Cleaners from The Division, Echelon from Splinter Cell, Libertad from Far Cry 6, Phantoms from Ghost Recon Phantoms, and DedSec from Watch Dogs 2. Each faction has abilities centered around the faction's lore. You get to choose between one of two tactical abilities with a shorter cooldown, and each faction also comes with an ultra ability that can turn the tide of battle quickly, like a one-shot pistol or a flamethrower. The gameplay mostly focuses around the gunplay, however, as the abilities are mostly secondary in any of the game modes. There are 6 game modes across several maps, and you are able to queue up for whichever game modes you specifically want. Now here's the question: is there any story? XDefiant has no story to speak of at the present. It's just a multiplayer focused game and is likely to stay that way, so don't expect there to be a story mode in the future. But now the question still stands: pause or repeat?
All right, I've been actually looking for a game like this. So for a game like this to come out, I wasn't expecting it to be from Ubisoft, of all people.
True.
But it's here, and I've been having fun with it. As it is right now, it's a little frustrating sometimes, but it can be very rewarding when you're just stomping people left and right in these matches. But what do you think, Chris?
Well, kind of considering how I'm kind of like jumping ship right now and like mentioning a topic that we're going to be discussing later on patch notes, especially considering how, Ubisoft's going to get in a little bit of trouble when it comes to like Rainbow Six Siege and, starting up a $9.99 membership per month. Maybe this is a tactic to get a lot of people pissed off about like a nearly 10-year-old game and convince them to jump onto XDefiant, because it's like Batman, bursting out from the darkness, stepping out of the Call of Duty shadows. Though, let's not get too carried away just yet, gamers. It's not quite ready to snatch the crown from the Joker. But hey, I
mean, that's
feel
the
like
thing, though. I think that it can be its own thing, its own series, if it even wants to get to that point. It's not going to compete with Call of Duty as it is right now. Call of Duty's got years of experience on it at this point.
But don't you think, HenricK, at least it's got gamers hooked for the foreseeable future?
It all depends on how they handle this, because they've definitely got the player base now. They just have to keep it up and put out some content updates with new operators, new guns, maybe some skins here and there. And I think at that point, then they have a solid game on their hands that it's going to actually keep people hooked. But people want content more than anything else. They don't care about skins in the store being added or a battle pass or anything like that. They want actual content like more guns,
so more
maps,
monetization,
things like that. No, they don't want.
Well, that's what it's
monetization.
gonna be. I mean, they're not gonna give anything away for free. But
they do already. You just have to work for it. That's all.
That's a good point too. But compared to other first-person shooters, this is a free-to-play game. Like you joked, like in the beginning, we're always like trying to debate whether it's even worth your time and money to even pay for this game. This is a free-to-play game, and what I do like about this thing is it's like a wild Ubisoft party. Mixing the different factions and the game modes and maps with their treasure trove of IP. And it's like running through a gaming museum, except, instead of the dusty artifacts, you're dodging bullets by the levels inspired by your favorite titles. And, just hearing you talk right now, HenricK, you're making me think that like Ubisoft might take the same strategy as Apex Legends and, create more of these heroes, which might potentially come, creating these factions along the lines of like Assassin's Creed. I mean, how cool would that be, And then having these abilities and being brought into the game. I like the idea. What about, are you vibing with that kind of sense?
Yeah, they definitely could do that. Ubisoft has so many titles to pull from, and this in a way is a great chance for them to actually kind of redeem the base of some of these titles, because some people haven't really been jiving with the actual games they've been from. But if
Yeah.
you could all of a sudden play as an assassin from Assassin's Creed in this game, I think people would be okay with that.
Yeah, like,
Sounds
what if
pretty
you're
cool.
like they'll probably take like different components that are kind of like similar to like Call of Duty, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, faction guy, maybe you're a stealthy dude that can run around really fast. You can't hear foot movement, and you can stab with a combat knife a little bit faster. But it's not a perfect game as of yet. I
No.
do like the action. It's very fast paced, but you'll swear your weapons and abilities had one too many energy drinks, because I don't know about you, HenricK. Like, my favorite go-to person is the Phantom Future Soldier, and using the ability of the mag
one of
barrier.
those
Because
people.
yeah, that's true. Because people probably, when they see me on the battlefield, they probably think I'm cheating. Because like, who needs a boost of health when you can literally just block bullets with the click of a button, right?
Well, you get both of them with that faction. You get a little bit more health and a shield if you want
Well,
to.
even like the other dude that's kind of like seems like it needs to get nerfed down a tad bit is even the flamethrower as well.
Oh yeah. The flame ammunition is pretty annoying.
But I think that's where, like some gamers are kind of like a little bit of frustrated right now, because, and I kind of do understand like some of the tweaks that do need to happen. And I have a feeling that Ubisoft is listening, because I don't know about you, HenricK, but like when I wanted to try out some of the shotguns, it felt like I was shooting marshmallows. So like I immediately
Yeah, I haven't really
switched.
liked the shotgun so far.
I thought they would be like way more powerful, especially with the fast-paced action. You want to use the shotgun, but
You
I
have
just
to
felt,
get like right in their face for it to count.
even sometimes that felt like it wasn't even doing anything, and so I kept resulting to the assault rifles and the SMGs, and but again, I guess it is preseason after all, and maybe they're just warming up like me before my morning coffee. So give it some time. But
Well, I
no,
mean,
I don't-
there's definitely tweaks to the balance that need to be done, and there are some bugs, like you were saying. It's not a perfect game. There's things that need to be fixed and tweaked, but I think as it stands now, it's a pretty solid foundation for something that could thrive as long as they keep feeding it.
Big time. I think for the foreseeable future, XDefiant is going to be with us for a while, and it's a repeat for me. I know gamers are going to have a lot of fun. I know some people are still like, whining and complaining that there's no real skill-based matchmaking. Trust me, I have a feeling that they will add that pretty soon, because, like
If
the
they
welcome.
add that, though, people are going to get mad, I think. Because
Really? It's always
skill-based-
like, you can never appease anybody nowadays.
But that's the thing. Like, the whole point of this game, as like a thing that they were trying to advertise it to people as, was like, oh, you play this game if you want to get away from the skill-based matchmaking. Because the argument is that when you have skill-based matchmaking, your casual matches end up feeling like ranked. You just don't know what your rank is, because they're placing you in brackets like the ranked mode is. And if you play ranked only, that's fine.
I feel like the only skill matching that's happening is only for the welcome playlist game mode.
Yeah.
Where it
But
keeps
that's
people
on
under level
purpose.
25. Right.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like it's a free-for-all, and it's like, you know what? Sometimes you're not always badass just because of your age. There's going to be a 13-year-old out there that's going to come in, and he's going to be sweaty, and he's just going to kick all of our asses, okay? And this is the way of the land. But hey, we haven't heard
But
from
then
you,
you
HenricK.
learn and you get better. In the next round, you get the chance, maybe being better than the other people you're facing off against. So you keep learning as you play the game
That's a
with
good
that
point.
sort of formula.
Fair enough. But hey, HenricK, what are you vibing with this? Is this a pause or a repeat?
Right now, it's a repeat, but I'm keeping my eyes on it, and it might
I
change.
think I felt like you kind of like stuttered in the moment, because you're like, I'm pausing on doing this battle pass thing, but
Yeah, I haven't
I'm
bought that
repeating
yet.
the process of playing this game, for the foreseeable future, and we'll see where it goes. But gamers, let us know what's up. Comment, join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you all. But hey, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show after all, and we got a whole lot more to unpack. So, HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely. It's time to rage about some topics.
Come on, baby. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK, the Wreck, and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. 2 years after the Uvalde School Massacre, families of the victims filed several state lawsuits in California and Texas against social media giant Meta, Activision, the popular maker of the video game Call of Duty, and XDefiant, the manufacturer of the AR-15 used by the teen gunman in the shooting. Friday's lawsuits claim that Instagram, which is Meta, Activision, and XDefiant have been, quote, partnering in a scheme that preys upon insecure adolescent boys, end quote, attorneys said in a news release. So gamers stormed the web to voice their thoughts on the lawsuits with the following. Suing video game companies for mass shootings? Are we back in the 2000s? Sure feels like it.
Yeah, no, we've been through this so many times. It feels like every time there's a huge incident like this, video games are the first thing that gets blamed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hearing anybody go after the new Civil War movie. Are we in the are we in the middle of a presidential election? I think we need to censor, any kind of animosity between the two parties. This is not good for our country. Sue them. All right, the next comment we got here is, despite there being dozens of peer-reviewed studies saying there's no correlation between video games and violence, but okay, maybe just focus on the cowardly cops who let the kids die. Yeah, and there is a lawsuit that's being worked upon right now. It hasn't been filed as of yet, but even the principal is going to be involved in that same lawsuit. So yes, they're gonna be getting tackled after. Even another person's writing. How about the cops that took an hour to even enter? Following up with, bruh, people really want to blame video games and not their awful parenting, which that's another debate. This is Call of Duty after all. It's rated M for mature for a reason, so it's
you're not supposed to be playing it if you're not of age.
So yeah, and there's plenty of parental controls on a lot of these console devices, so that's not an excuse. Bad parenting for sure. No lawsuit against the police, which again, that's not true. It's in motion as we speak. No lawsuit against the antibacterial soap that cop used to wash his hands rather than go in to shoot the bad guy with the cop AR-15. Did these families forget that the gun violence was stopped by guys with guns? And yes, it took them 71 minutes to enter. Crazy. And
wild.
I'm sorry for their loss, but this is asinine and completely pointless. Responsibility and accountability are important in life. Video games, social media, and manufacturers aren't responsible for the behavior of others. And so, HenricK, that's where I'm going to throw it to you, because why do we continue to label art and entertainment, such as video games, claiming that video game violence can lead to violent behavior?
Well, it's the same argument that was thrown onto the movie industry before video games became so big. Like, oh, violent movies are making the youth violent themselves. And it's like, no, that's not the reason. The reason why people are violent is because they are deciding to be violent. And maybe they get inspiration from a movie or a video game, but that's not necessarily the movie or the video game's fault at that point, because it's there. It's not saying, oh, go do this violent act, go shoot up a school, go, do some murder on the street or something. It's not saying to do that. It's not condoning that.
Yeah.
It's just a form of entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's like labeling.
Sometimes people take it too far, but it's wrong to put the blame on that at the end of the day as well.
Big time, HenricK. And I know that's like, blaming the millions of gamers for having a violent behavior. We all play Call of Duty. We don't have, the mindset to go out and shoot the people in the masses. And there's even responsible gun owners that are furious over this situation and are pissed off with people like this moron who makes it even harder to be able to even own a gun in this country. I'm not some gun-toting person. I don't own a weapon. I don't care to ever own one, but this is a U.S. right. You are able to own a weapon. But hey, I'm along the mindset where, you're going to be held to the highest extent of the law if you don't cover those precautions. And listen, you got to get a driver's license just to be able to operate a car. You got to have a fishing license just to go fishing. And that's where this is like where I could see where Daniel Defense can get in some trouble with this, because the lawsuit alleges that the gunman on his 18th birthday purchased the AR-15 used in the Uvalde shooting because on April 27th, 2022, attorneys say the gunman created an account with Daniel Defense and added a DDM4V7, which is known as the weapon that is in the online cart. So then on May 16th, 2022, just 23 minutes after midnight on his 18th birthday, he purchased the weapon just 8 days before the Uvalde shooting. So how are you able to create a Daniel Defense account if you're under the age of 18? That's where I'm very puzzled with.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you're not supposed to have the access to a gun until you are 18.
And like, and HenricK, and like, I don't know about you, but like, you know, they're trying to make this case that, you know, like these are the three-headed monsters, you know, going after, you know, Meta and Activision and, you know, Daniel Defense. But I don't know about you, HenricK, but like, this is my first time hearing about Daniel Defense. I've never even heard of the
I've never heard of the
manufacturer
company either.
So like, I've been playing Call of Duty for over a decade, so I'm not sure where the attorney's making that connection between Instagram equals adolescent plus gun company plus video game studio. So I think
that is definitely a stretch. I mean, I know things like your phone are listening to you and, you know, keeping track of everything you're doing, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, you're not going to see an ad for a gun all of a sudden on Instagram just because you played Call of Duty. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't.
Anybody really gets that.
Yeah, and like, and even the attorney argues that if Instagram could prevent people from posting pictures of their private parts, then they could prevent people from posting pictures of an AR-15. And have you been on X? I know we're streaming right now. No one's calling for censorship, but I'm just saying, like, I get it. You know, no, you know, private parts. You know, that's a no thing. But that's the social media companies call whether they want to actually outlaw and bar guns from being on their platform. Because again, in the United States, there are states where you can legally own and operate a gun, whether you like it or not. So, you know, I just feel like it's such a headache when they do this time and time again, blaming the art and entertainment for violence with one bad apple.
Misdirection, trying to make a scapegoat about something where you don't want to challenge the real issues, because the real issues are stuff that's too touchy or, you know, too complicated to try to challenge. But, you know, what's easier is going against the video games because that's something that too many people are into.
Yeah. And, you know, and I'm with those comments that they were saying, you know, it just, I want to cuss so badly. It pisses me off when you see that officer again, when he's using the hand sanitizer and they waited 71 minutes to just even enter the room to take down this gunman. It is such a disgrace, and they shall be held accountable to the highest extent. This is not how we handle, you know, a mass shooting. It's terrifying to even see that law enforcement even acted upon that way. So yeah, they will be held accountable. But, you know, I think this is a time where we want to hear from you gamers. Join the conversation, comment throughout the show. We want to know, are you guys thinking that, you know, this is getting a bit carried away, or do the lawsuits have a point and we need to have that conversation? But hey, HenricK, I think this is a good time to segue into the next topic of conversation.
Yeah, speaking of lawsuits and court dealings, in a verdict that left cheaters sweating bullets, and not just in-game, a jury ruled on Friday that Phoenix Digital, the mastermind behind the cheat mod site Aim Junkies, is guilty of messing with Bungie's copyrights by cooking up cheats for Destiny 2. This landmark decision marks possibly the first time a jury has given the thumbs down to cheat creators for stepping on a gaming giant's company or copyright toes.
Yeah, big time, dude.
Looks like cheating really does never prosper. At least not legally.
Yeah, pretty much. Or if you're making a profit off it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that just don't
It's
do
when
that.
you make a profit off it, they're going to come after you. If it's for free, you know, you might get away with it.
Because you're hurting their bottom dollar.
But you're still a jackass if you're cheating in my match lobby, okay?
I don't condone that.
Right.
But gamers responded to the news with the following comments. We got some heated topic debate.
Oh, yeah,
there.
big time. So let's go ahead and show the first comment. That didn't take long. And for how little Aim Junkies made, the fact that they had to pay Bungie all the revenue from the cheats they sold, that may deter others from doing the same. Or they'll just move their business to a country that doesn't care about U.S. laws. Yeah, I mean, true.
Yeah.
But U.S. is starting to crack down because big-scale cheating from the U.S. is pretty much dead with this lawsuit now. Non-profit cheat making will be fine, most likely. And, of course, there's still plenty of places that could make cheats that a U.S. company couldn't touch, though lawsuit against cheaters is getting more common. Last year, there was a lawsuit in Korea, which was way harsher on cheat makers.
And that's the thing that's interesting is that I want to say the majority of the time when cheat makers are doing that, they're trying to make a profit. So if they move their operations to a country that is not within the U.S. jurisdiction and doesn't have any extradition laws, you're screwed. You're never going to touch those people.
Very good point. It is a good win for the OG developers of games. Every win counts, big or small. Can't do much about the free cheating, but the cheating that profits a company definitely can be dealt with some places. So what was the actual legal justification? Is creating a product to cheat illegal? I didn't think it was. So how does this work? Hurting business profits alone is not enough. And there's a lot of people that are like negative, like thumbs down. They're like, dude, hurting business profits alone is not enough. Actually, that's all it takes. Yeah, I mean, if
literally.
there's so many cheaters in an online lobby, especially with a game like Destiny 2, which is built upon that premise, and they're not seeing, their gamers return because these assholes are not making it fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about how many times you've played a game and you've been stuck in lobbies with cheaters and you're like, screw this game. I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm done. And like even this gentleman's even saying, why do people think that they can get away with effing with Bungie? Is there a challenge or something? They're like Nintendo. Leave them alone or lose a ton of money. Because cheat makers have been getting away against much larger companies for years now. Just wish they would start cracking down too. And the last comment we have here is, if you read through the initial article linked, it talks about how cheat software relies on reverse engineering a game's code as it needs to access the game information. For instance, how would wall hacks work if you aren't using in-game code? This is a copyright breach, and it is really hard to defend against. All really, really great comments and definitely raises eyebrows. And HenricK, I mean, talk about a digital showdown. Looks like there's an attempt, to try to cheat the system, which ended up, being like the final boss battle. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, this doesn't happen often when the companies do go after cheat makers, because I've been playing video games for a while, online video games specifically, and I can't count on my hands or my toes how many times I've dropped a game because of the cheaters in a game. Because it's just frustrating for the players playing the game legitimately to have to face off against people who are using external software to, have an advantage one way or the other, whether it means wall hacks or aimbot or whatever, what have you. It's just annoying, to know, or even just have the thought in your head, did that guy just cheat?
Yeah,
I don't know if he did.
But it's more about just like losing, the player base. And clearly Bungie felt like that was enough to really go after him. Because again, let's be for real. This is pocket change for Bungie. They're, $63,000. This does really nothing to kind of like elevate them. They're like, oh, sweet, we got all this new money now where we can go explore, new game modes and a new IP and etc. No, but again, this does put on a record with the jury about the legality of creating such cheats. And I mean, think about the news that just even dropped before we were like coming onto the show. Call of Duty, right? I mean, this is even pretty insane too as well, because a high-profile video game cheat maker, Engine Owning, has been ordered to pay Activision over $14 million in damages and hand over its domain name, which it sells cheats for a number of Call of Duty games, as well as Counter-Strike, Battlefield, and Titanfall. So, I mean, this starts to make me think about our conversation we literally just had last week. I mean, what's worse for the industry and the players? Is it emulators or is it cloud gaming? And now that the cheat makers are getting tackled, for, using, the game sources in game, don't you feel like this is like a massive win for, the three-headed monsters, so to speak, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, to be like, yes, finally, we can go after the emulators and stop this massive rave that's been happening for the last couple of months,
I don't know about
removing
that
these products off your
specifically.
phone and PC.
Yeah, I don't know about that specifically, considering that usually the emulators out there don't use any actual copyrighted assets. They're just making it possible to emulate the games.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like, well, think about it like
the assets.
But think about it like a pay-per-view fight, right? You're going to have websites that are going to be illegally streaming, the product. It's just enough to where, it gets that one website in a legal court battle where they can just go, we're going to claim the domain name. We are going to acquire the whole website, and it completely shuts off people from even being able to download illegal ROMs.
But at the same time, it's kind of like the Hydra situation where you cut off one head and two more show up in its place. You might cut off one emulator or one website that's going to supply ROMs for an emulator, and three more or more than that even are going to show up in its place. It's a game of whack-a-mole, and you're not going to win because there is no end to it.
But
as long as people have a want and a need for that sort of thing, it's going to be there until you provide a service that is that.
But it did kind of get me kind of thinking too, when thinking about this whole situation now that like Activision's in the game, and we know that Activision is linked with Microsoft, and it's starting to seem like they got a pretty intriguing business strategy kind of going on. It seems like they're doing like a philosophy along the lines of like buy, build, and bury. They're going to buy all the studios. They're going to build upon, their library of assets. And then anybody that's going to affect their IP, like these cheat makers, they're going to bury you. It feels like it's a scene out of Suits.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, that is what a lot of industries do. You look at the movie industry, for example, a lot of things that studios will do is they'll get a script from someone who's trying to sell the script to them. And they're like, this script is really good. We don't have the money, or we don't want to do this script, but we also don't want our rival to get access to it. So we're going to buy it from you, and we're going to lock it in a vault so no one can touch it.
Yeah, and I know also people too were also very pissed off about the whole idea that like even Bungie was even able to find out that these guys were even using in-game source code because, through their like anti-cheat software, you don't realize when you're signing your terms of services that they can actually engage within your own computer from wherever their central hub is, and they can acquire that source. A lot of people feel like that's an infringement of your privacy, but again, that's kind of like the joke we were saying like a couple weeks back, like who the hell is actually reading terms of services? And that's
true.
That's how anti-cheats do work out.
That is a conversation that people are having more and more when more and more games are coming out with anti-cheat. That ends up being a little invasive like that because people do value their privacy, and anti-cheat is a way that kind of subverts your privacy on a computer because it has to have full access to your computer in order to make sure you're not doing anything sketchy in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. A lot of people are not really okay with that, and it's another issue where it's a whack-a-mole game because there's always going to be that the copyright the cheat makers are going to constantly make new ways to subvert the anti-cheat, and it's going to get to the point too where when AI becomes more accessible, that there's going to be AI playing the game for you, and that's going to be the cheat. And there's not going to be an easy way to really detect that unless you have cameras in someone's room. But who's going to want to have that level of privacy gone?
Yeah, I think it's more along the lines that it's like even the cheat makers and the people that do mods, they just don't want you messing with their IP. And I'm having a brain fart on the gentleman that has that very popular YouTube channel where he does mods for Mortal Kombat, and he's already getting threatened by Disney, and Pixar to take down their kind of stuff. Same thing kind of applies. And I know gamers can shit on World of Warcraft all they want, but like they were ones that did support built-in support for mods and plugins, and that's probably going to be what they're going to try to do, just so they can kind of, vet a little bit some of the mods that they feel like they won't get in trouble with as well. And,
well, the unfortunate thing with a game like World of Warcraft too is, this is coming from someone who played the game for a while in the earlier days.
Yeah.
You kind of need to have add-ons installed to have a decent experience sometimes, because there's some add-ons like I believe it might still be called Deadly Boss Mods, but it's basically an add-on that shows you in real time in boss fights the mechanics. And if you don't have that installed, you're just going to keep wiping your group.
But you're cheating. That's not what cheating. They want. That's what they claim.
I mean, it's not necessarily something that's added in the game by the developers, but it's not cheating necessarily.
No.
There's been add-ons that have been basically cheating.
HenricK, you're so busted, bro, because I'm just going to say exactly what you say all the time. It's a skill issue, baby. It's a skill issue. You set yourself up for that one, not myself, young man. So, but hey, we want to know from you gamers, where do you see this going? Do you feel like this lawsuit is a bit too harsh, or do you want to see, these kind of things, continue to be a free-flowing motion and have the U.S. government stay out of this? Comment below. Let us know what's good. But hey, I think this is a good segue. You want to jump into this one because people are all mad about cheat makers and mods and etc. And we've been talking about a little bit with live services at the top of the show. But let's get it. Ubisoft has announced a $9.99 a month membership for its shooter Rainbow Six Siege, leaving the core fan base feeling like they've been hit with a tactical grenade. Rainbow Six Siege, which is not a free-to-play game, recently revealed the second season of Year 9, dubbed Operation New Blood. And with it, Ubisoft also introduced Rainbow Six membership. So if you guys haven't seen the artwork for the membership, the official blurb from Ubisoft reads, quote, active membership holders will enjoy monthly drops of exclusive content that includes time-limited gear, animated legendary skins, 10 times the battle level skips, a Bravo pack, and access to the premium battle pass for $9.99 a month, or a discounted $79.99 for the year. So yeah, oh my gosh, could you imagine? Who would have thought? Fans booed the Rainbow Six membership during the Blast R6 Major Manchester 2024 event. So if you guys haven't seen the clip that's going viral on TikTok, let's go ahead and showcase you guys that clip now.
The players who will join in the first week of Season 2 will get an exclusive Epic bundle only offered during that period, as well as 600 Rainbow Six credits. We want to make membership involved in order to make members feel like true VIPs at Siege. So as always, we'll be listening to the feedbacks to see how we can make that.
Clearly they're not happy. And fans of the Rainbow Six franchise responded to the news online with the following. So let's go ahead and dive into the first comment. So the first one says, does Siege realize that we paid for this game? Yeah, that is frustrating. It's not a free-to-play game. And
but they want more money from you. If they can get the money, they're gonna want to get the money, man.
Come on, gamers, we gotta revolt. Jinxie really revived Siege just for Ubi to kill it again? Yeah, I know, right? They're on their high horse right now. I mean, a game that was like so irrelevant like 2 or 3 years ago, now you want to start doing this? Crazy. I think Siege has every monetization system under the sun now. Yeah, that's true. Like the premium edition, the ultimate edition for Star Wars Outlaw,
a battle pass, like shop in the game. And,
oh my gosh. Yeah. Just the list goes on and on. Ubisoft just can't hesitate when it comes to shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know who's more greedy, Ubisoft or EA. Just a reminder, you used to get 2 ops a season and a new map / rework, and now you might not get either. And last, now you can rent your game forever. That's what all these practices are doing. Is it really called rent when I just bought the base game? Or wait, did I buy a license? Do I actually own the game? Oh, no, HenricK. But, as Rainbow Six Siege gears up for its 10th anniversary, Ubisoft is feeling the heat to squeeze more cash out of its game than ever before. So, HenricK, is Rainbow Six membership the secret sauce to keep the money train chugging along, or just another grenade in the cash-grabbing arsenal of live services?
Well, it is definitely seeming like just a cash grab, especially considering that the stuff from the membership you can, a lot of them at least, get from just playing the game. So you're basically paying them to not play the game. That's something that is gaming in 2024, basically, is, let me pay you so I don't have to play the game.
But,
What?
just to be a devil's advocate, Ubisoft could be like, hey, listen, this is like no different than the Fortnite crew. But I would also say in part that Fortnite's a free-to-play game. That's kind of like the major issue, though. It's like people are paying, $70 for this one game, or if you're lucky to get it from a live streaming service like, PS Premium, wherever you go, to be able to play that game. But it's just like that kind of stuff just drives you nuts. And I know a lot of people are kind of comparing, the Division 2 as being like a prime example of a service game done right, because, players, they don't need to buy the season pass to access the most important new items or the new gear and exotics. So people just hate that it's under another paywall. Like that's where I totally feel the frustration from gamers.
Yeah, no one wants to be left out of something. It's the whole feeling of FOMO that they're playing off of for monetization usually, because you look at these fancy, nice skins and you're like, oh man, I want that. But then you look at the price and you're like, oh, I have to pay for it? Oh, come on.
You're
Why
right.
can't I
It's
just
like,
earn it like it was, years ago when you bought a game and you were able to just play the game and earn the stuff that was cosmetic.
yeah, and the thing I don't like about this whole like per month, membership ordeal is it's like, with like Fortnite, I'll go back to them, they got the whole battle pass. At least the battle pass feels like it's like 3.5 months compared to, you go in with this and you're doing a membership and then you got premium skins. What the frick is premium even mean? It's not going to elevate your gameplay. It's just to be like, hey, you missed out. You didn't, you weren't around when June 2024 was around. Well, you missed out on the one opportunity to have this one iconic skin. What are you guys trying to be, like CSGO? What are we going to do? Are we going to create a little side website to be able to sell these skins to like someone else? Like, what are we doing?
There's actually some interesting emerging behaviors from gamers in some of these communities when there are exclusive cosmetics that you had to pay for, where we'll say, like, going back to World of Warcraft, there's some mounts you can buy in the store. And when you see someone with a store mount, you're like, oh, you're feeding into the monster that is Activision Blizzard, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so people kind of treat you a little bit differently.
There's definitely, that some gamers that will definitely do that, and we'll see. But I'm with you, HenricK, as we were saying. There are gonna be gamers that are still gonna support this, and if you really want to show your frustration, it's not gonna just be one esports event in Manchester. It has to be a global pushback towards Ubisoft
with your wallet
continuing to do this. Yeah, exactly. With your wallet. Don't support the act. In fact, just drop the viewer count. I think you guys could all play a different game for a couple of weeks. Show it with your wallet. Show it with your gameplay. Don't play it right now. That's what I would advise people. But hey, we want to know from you guys, gamers. Is this just like, playing? Is this just Chris and HenricK the Wreck being a bully and just being like, hey, people are doing this already, so why can't Ubisoft do it? They've already got enough flack this year. Or is this just the wrong approach to have when it comes to live service gaming? Comment throughout and let us know what's good. But hey, HenricK, what's going on?
Welcome back to another thrilling Reddit debate.
That's right.
Today's burning question: what's a video game that you once coveted, but now thank the gaming gods you dodged? Let the digital regret begin.
Yes, let's get it. I love a good Reddit thread discussion. And the first comment that we have here is Cities Skylines 2. Yes, these are kind of the games that I kind of stay away from, to be real with you.
I mean, this is just a rabbit hole of time.
I mean,
You
clearly
spend a lot of time.
3.4 thousand people vibed with that comment. The next one we have here is Biomutant.
Oh.
I was excited to do goofy shit as a fuzzy gremlin. I think we all were. I think that is one, like, it starts off so good, HenricK. You know, I love the character creator, and then it ends.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it ends right there.
Yep, and this actually, I remember, I didn't play this at launch, but I remember that I got it from Humble Choice like a year after it came out, and I was like, hey, talking to the boys, hey boys, I got a Biomutant finally from Humble Choice, and my friend who also pays for Humble Choice sometimes, he was like, oh, damn, I hate that.
I mean, think about what those games are, because we want to hear from you gamers tuning in live. Maybe the most hyped I've ever been for a game announcement, although I should have taken the hints from Take-Two's DLC rollout for KSP1 that it wouldn't go so well. Now we're getting leaks about what a shit show the development was, but I can hardly say I'm surprised. This is becoming an often repeated trope about the gaming industry these days, so people are complaining about Kerbal Space Program 2. I've never played the game, so I can't really speak, towards it, but I'm feeling the energy. 2.8 thousand people are like, dog, how could you screw this up? We were so excited for the sequel. This one cracked me up because this always seems to be a discussion that's brought up all the time. And I don't know why this was like, I kept seeing, even on Twitter, and people were revisiting this even on their own phones and tablets. Superman 64. So why this one game? But let's go into the comment. In my younger days, it was Superman 64. I thought it was going to be cool to play as Superman flying around in an foggy open world. I kept looking up videos of it thinking it was going to be cool. I ended up emailing one of the heads of the Nintendo 64 channel on AOL. Yes, kids, AOL used to be like a social media subscription. Any Gen Z, Gen A tuning in. Anyways, the username was ant_n64 was his name, and asked him what he thought of it. He sent me an email back with a massive 64 font point stating that the game is hot garbage and not to buy it. You didn't like flying through floating rings in the air? And
it's not even that. It's frustrating to do it because it's not tuned properly for you to be able to do it.
I mean, could you imagine being the poor soul who did this game over Super Mario 64? Oh my gosh, back in the day. What wanker.
That was also in the time period where sometimes you'd rent a game from like Blockbuster or something. Imagine renting that even. Yeah. And then your weekend is ruined.
So true. Just like how people are feeling about the trilogy, Payday 3. I'm sure it'll be fun after another couple of years, but right now it's kind of sad. What do you mean a couple of years? What are they going to do? Give you more monetization options to make it seem like more
You see the downfall of Payday from the transition of Payday 2 to 3 has been very interesting because it's really recent, actually.
Yeah.
And so many people dropped the series at this point. It's going to be a struggle for them to even claim any of that back.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, HenricK. And last, Skull and Bones. I played the open beta and couldn't believe they were dumb enough to let people try the game first. They would have had my money on sheer hype if I didn't get a chance to play it and realize how awful it is. So yes, there are gamers out there that have completely regretted spending their hard-earned dinero on video games. But HenricK, I'm gonna throw it to you because have you ever eyed a video game only to dodge a bullet like Neo in The Matrix?
I was a big Halo fan and still am. But back in the day when Bungie stopped working on Halo, they went to go work on another project called Destiny. And
wow, I'm a bit surprised.
I remember
there was a lot of hype around that.
There was a lot of hype about it because it was Bungie's first project after Halo, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let's check it out." No, I was not jiving with it. And then when Destiny 2 came out, a bit later after that, so probably a couple years ago at this point, my best buds and I did hop on Destiny 2 and play for a bit. during the Witch Queen expansion, and it was great. We had a good time. And then the next expansion came out, and yeah, I didn't buy that one, and I haven't gone back yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I wasn't one of those people, but, you know, thinking about that kind of like sci-fi shooter genre, seems like a lot of people have regrets when it comes to that specific subset of gaming. Because I could think of Anthem. Remember Anthem?
Oh, yeah.
That was a
Anthem.
game that was highly anticipated. I thought the gameplay was fun, but it just like the longevity of like keeping you around was like so just underwhelming. I was very disappointed and very happy I didn't pay for it. But, you know, after all, this is a topic about, you know, things that we regretted buying. I think, you know, there's like two that kind of come in mind. I know like during the PS4 time, you know, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is probably one of them, and SpongeBob Bikini Bottom. Not because it's a bad game. It's only because like I'm one of those guys that do cloud gaming, and you go and buy these games and you're super excited, and then what do you find out? The game drops for free next month, and you're like, come on, man. And like,
I could have saved my money and tried it this other time.
Dude, it just drives me up a wall. And so that's why I'm not making the mistake with Spyro. I want to relive those days, but then again, you know, there's probably someone that's like listening to me right now and go, Chris, aren't you the hater of those remakes and those remakes and stuff like that? Not all of them are terrible, but I just don't want to support this notion. come on, man. Let's support
Hey, you know what?
new writers, new directors,
I can
new developers.
agree on the fact that a lot of remakes and remasters are just unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
If they do another Last of Us remaster in the next couple years, someone's gonna pop a gasket online, and
like,
it's not gonna be me.
what could be exciting is like some of those like little rumors are fluttering right now, like Resident Evil clearly want to continue the hype with this whole remakes. There's, you know, early reports rumbling that, you know, Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Veronica is potentially in the works. And so those are kind of style of games where you can go, okay, I could see, you know, going back and revisiting that. Not The Last of Us. Or The Last of Us Part 2 6 years later. It's like, no, you should have just done what Fallout 4 did and was like, hey guys, thanks for supporting us all these years. Thanks for, you know, revisiting this game. We're you're on the PS5? Cool. Here's the new, you know, edition. Instead of being like, oh, you know, let's buy a new game. Screw you guys. Like that. Oh, that just pissed me off with the, you know, The Last of Us Part 2. But hey, gamers, we want to hear from you guys. Is there any game that you regret? I'm sure HBO was regretting releasing the PS3 edition of Game of Thrones. I can't think of any more, you know, but I'm sure there's a lot of games you guys have bought that you instantly regretted. Let us know what's good. But man, this has been such a fun time with you, HenricK the Wreck. We've been having such a blast with all the new viewers and returning viewers that join us every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And since we're at the end of the show, just want to kind of do a quick highlight for you guys. If you guys are not, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is the QR code where you can instantly find all the instant gratification of the Chris College Show world, along with your boy.
Yeah, go ahead and scan that QR code and you'll go to my YouTube channel. You'll see all the content that I post on there, from memes to clips from the show. And if you follow me on there, you'll get a notification most likely if you hit that bell icon when I go live tonight at around 8 p.m. I'm going to be playing a bit of XDefiant, so you can go and roast my gameplay when I die too many times.
Yeah, right. I mean, just don't be moving like a snail. It's a fast-paced game after all.
Yeah.
Oh, you already know. I don't need to tell you, but you might have a skill issue. We'll find out when we join HenricK the Wreck tonight. But again, gamers, we want to see you guys join us live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we can't thank you, the gamers, enough, because without you guys and girls, this show would not be possible. So kickstart that week. I know it's the middle of the week. Move that soul train. Create the good vibes, because it only starts with you. And HenricK the Wreck and I will see you next week. Peace.
See ya.